right, we have Andrew Downing, ex-councillor of the Pirate Party. Do you have a position at the moment, or are you just a member?
I'm also a member of the Policy Development Committee for the Pirate Party.
All right, very good.
And quite some time ago, we actually developed our position on the whole same-sex marriage issue. Our position was a little bit different, perhaps, than many. Many of the positions, particularly on the yes side today, have oriented around the sort of compassion for the individuals and trying to give them equal rights and so on. We actually take a more fundamental position than that, which is, if anything, we think that doesn't go far enough. But not far enough down the compassion line, but rather you think about this as a fundamental principle that has been involved in government since the beginning and the inception of the Australian government, which was a separation of church and state. We said these things are separate. The government is not there to enforce religious doctrine. That's not its purpose. So the government is essentially secular, with the one exception of marriage. Why did this one exception stand out there as being this thing that a government should control and which has this religious nature to it? So our position is to say the government has no business being involved at all, really, in how you get married or whether you do or what partners you have or don't have. It's none of their damn business. It's up to you. It's up to you, your relatives, your partner, your church if you have one.
I think you've got to make it clear that there's a law in Australia forbidding the government from making what was it called, making judgments on religious matters. Right?
Yeah.
They're
so on
absolutely
that front,
not allowed to do that. But
so on that front, we assert that government involvement in the notion of marriage is probably wrong. However, we do recognise that for the government does get involved in a variety of social good issues, right? And in that sense, the government recognises partnering arrangements among citizens and either wants to encourage or discourage those things. So, for example, they give incentives for families to help them look after children and things like that. So they want to know if two people are acting as partners, and the government will make various laws and regulations in relation to how much assistance they're going to provide. That's a purely financial issue. It has nothing to do with your...
Is the government prepared to throw money on that new issue?
Well, we didn't actually comment on that front. We're not actually saying whether the government should or should not provide assistance or more or less assistance around this particular thing. That's whatever law that might be, right?
Yeah,
that's about government assistance.
You have to.
But we separate these two things. There is the issue of government assistance and the issue of marriage. And we think marriage is a non-secular issue. It is to do with you, your friends, your relatives, your church and your God if you have those. And it's up to you. The government can stay out of your bedroom, they can stay out of your life, your personal life in particular, and your relationships. That's the fundamental premise. So we advocate for what we call a Civil Union Act to replace the Marriage Act, which says the government will recognise if you form a civil union with another person, and that will be for administrative purposes only, and that's the end of that. Meanwhile, if you want to get married, that's entirely up to you. You can call it marriage, you can have whatever ceremony you want, you can choose whoever your partner you want. Of course, if there's any kind of coercion involved, the government's going to have a thing to say about that. You don't get to coerce people. But that's the same in any other function in life anyway. So I think this clarifies the whole issue quite nicely and just solidifies that line between church and state that's been there all along, but somehow got omitted in this area. So that's the position. If you have any questions about it, I'm willing to answer.
That's a very good